Hey, I'm going to use the Sheraton again today. It has the Nacet in it that has been used 133 times so far. Many of them on video. Brush we're going to use today is this B10 from Zenith. I really like it. Soft tips, pretty flexible, bristles. I'd say maybe a 3 out of 10 in terms of backbone, kind of medium-low. I like it a lot. I'm going to put it back in the water because in a minute I want to shake out. I want some water to be in there so that when I shake it out, the right amount will remain. And a new brand of soap to me I'm using today. It's a used puck, and it is Ariana Evans. And this one is Monte Carlo. And it smells just terrific. Very nice. Describe it for you in a little bit. And I've showed you everything. The usual shave bowl from Roger Quintero. Link is in the description for the files if you want to 3D print it. So I am in the middle of my borathon. This brush has been used maybe 11 times, I think, previously. I'm bringing up a bunch of bores along the same steps so I can compare them, and this is a wonderful bore brush. It's got a lot of bristles and just a lot of comfort feel, soft tips, and I've just been really enjoying it because of that. The handle, it's a little weird. I had to take a Dremel to it to remove some sharp edges in the waist part of the handle. Waist as in narrow part. And so I might break this handle apart, yank this knot, put it in a more comfortable or nicer looking handle, because the bristles themselves are wonderful. And that's cool because this is a very low cost bore knot. It's $12, $15, something like that. And it's very nice. I don't know how it's going to be in terms of the future. It's very young right now. Is it going to be too floppy in the future? I don't think so, but so be it. I can always put in an O-ring in there to kind of bring the bristles together a little bit more. But I really like it right off the bat. It's kind of like my Simogues, just a couple of uses. And with all these brushes, I'm soaking them for about 1 to 3 hours before each shave, and then giving them about 2 or 3 days between shaves, at least that. And that's my break-in procedure. Seems to be working great on the Simogues and this Zenith. All right, so this scent, I like it from the tub. Hopefully once it gets wet, I like it there too. As usual, I'm going to shake out most of the water. This is distilled water that I'm using since I had a long soak. I'm thinking 2 hours maybe is how long this guy has had. All right, so at 50 I started loading, and so at 20 I'll stop so that I get 30 seconds. Kind of immediately we get some kind of bubbles coming up. 13 more seconds. 30 seconds is my usual amount when a soap is unknown. Most of the time it's plenty. And there we go. This is kind of the lather what we have from this. Oh, and this, no, this brush does not have an O-ring in it. It just has a black band that almost looks like the O-rings that I've been using lately. Man, this is just such a good scent. I got a whiff of it just now coming up from the puck and everything. Nice. I think this is the same company that makes the Club shaving soap, and I've just tried my first one of those a few weeks ago, Hemingway. Really, really liked it. All right. Dry bowl. Just start here. So the scent notes for this one, a little bit of pepper and citrus and amber, woodsy amber, a little bit of floral in there, geranium, and then the base is vetiver and patchouli, and that's a good recipe. Those are good names. I don't like a lot of amber. That'll put me off if there's too much. But a little bit is a wonderful tool to smooth out a scent. I think I'm liking it so far. It is a little sweeter right now than it was from the dry puck. And I want to put a teaspoon of water in. Since I started with kind of a dry brush, I'm going to start with 1 teaspoon of water instead of half a teaspoon. So I've sampled one cream that was very peppery, and it was overly done. Didn't like it at all, but it can be a really nice piece, building block, supporting element to a good masculine scent, or at least one that I prefer. Of course, citrus and pepper. Citrus and spice is a renowned combination in so many shave soaps. So they're taking advantage of that, brightening it up a little bit, or maybe with a little bit of the floral, the geranium. Doesn't seem like they're overdoing it with that, so it doesn't have a feminine floral scent to it. And I love the vetiver. A little too much patchouli, and that might put me off, but usually a maker doesn't add too much for me. This is nice. Now it's not strong enough where it's coming up to me from this distance. I do smell the pepper. The citrus. I think the amber came first earlier, but I don't think I'm getting quite as much of it now. And I think I'm picking up the patchouli. Lather looks terrific as it's coming together. Still needs more water, but let's just take a look at it. Big old knot there, holding lots of lather. So now 2 teaspoons are in it. Who knows? I'll do a finger check. Maybe that's all we need. Sometimes, and I don't believe this is a lather to which this applies, but sometimes you'll have a light lather and it just needs to be stirred for a little bit. Williams comes to mind. It can bubble up kind of right away, but just keep stirring. And then that airy lather starts to condense and break. Condense is exactly the right word. And into this creamy, super slick mix that is just so enjoyable. And a lot of people don't have the knowledge or patience to push to that point. Okay, let's do that finger test I was mentioning. A little bit of cushion. I do have some slickness, but it is it's kind of thin. I definitely feel the prints on my fingerprints, the ridges on my fingerprints. So who knows, maybe I pushed this one a little too far. We'll see. All right. A lot of people rated this base as just a really good performer, so I'm looking forward to trying it out. A little water on my face now. I'm not going to leave a lot of excess on there, since I feel it could be a little too thin. And we are dealing with just room temperature water. Actually kind of cool. Really soft bristles here. I believe I read somewhere that the reason some Zenith brushes really break in quickly is because the hairs are bleached, and so that kind of pre-softens them to where they're almost ready right out of the box, and that sure is what I experienced. It's not super dominant to my nose here. It's not really jumping up on me in terms of the scent strength. Just use it some more and see what happens. Alright, so shave number 134 with this Nacet. A little tuggy, but not really a big deal. On my neck, I basically do 3 cross grain passes. Or slight oblique variations of that. Because going with the grain on my neck is troublesome because it's pretty much a sideways direction, and with the curvature of my neck being like that, a stroke coming in this way is going to touch on the corners of the razor and not in the middle. Rinse this off. Put just a few droplets of water in my lather bowl and kind of mix that up. Felt like it needed it. Left kind of a normal amount of water on my face after the rinse. Nice creamy rinse though, and that's uncommon for a first rinse because usually the oils in my skin kind of negate the creamy, nice awesomeness from a lather. And I get that only after the first rinse. There we go, very nice. Oh man, it's light, it's very light. I think this is a wonderful recipe, formulation, this scent. It's just too weak, dang it. Just finished tonight my taxes. Don't want to wait too long. I was cutting it close. I have pretty good residual slickness with this soap. Able to go back and buff. Sometimes without applying more lather. Excellent. Rinse time. All right. Get this third pass lather ready. good lather. I'd say it's dialed in pretty well. You could look at the appearance. I mean, there's a nice sheen on this one, but some soaps don't have a sheen, so that's not necessarily something to go for. Look at the contours. It's not too pokey. Matter of fact, see these peaks in the back? They folded over. And often that's a good sign. Just depends on the nature of the soap, whether it's got a lot of structure to it or if it's a little bit on the low side. Some of these new soaps with focus on post-shave attributes, kind of low structure, almost glue-like in appearance. Yeah, this one's nice. And I don't need this much on my face. Normally I don't do that. But since it's my third pass, why not? And we'll just see if I can smell it a little better. It's just lightly available. I mean, it's there. What a great recipe. What a great formula for this scent. The profile is just excellent. It's got so many things that I like, but it's just too light to enjoy. I don't know if that's a pattern for this brand or not. Have to do some research and see. All right. And every once in a while, if you have a twist to open, check it to make sure it's still locked down. I saw once where somebody had loosened up the head on their razor. It wasn't a butterfly like this one or a twist to open. It was a three-piece fixed, type unit, and it was just a really bad idea to do what they did and loosen it up, because the blade starts to move around and it's unpredictable. It's better to either choose a different razor or one thing you can do is add shims. And this is not something that I've tried. Certain areas of the internet talk about it as if that's just what they do all the time. I think part of it is the gist of it is you take a blade and you're working with two blades in the razor instead of one. It's just that maybe you use scissors or something like that to kind of cut off the blade edge of what's called the shim. And then maybe you put it underneath the real blade, but then it gives you a little bit of extra gap. And sometimes that translates into more aggression or more efficiency. You have to be really careful about that. All right, face feels great. Comfort is high. Let's rinse it off. Shave quality here is excellent. Just some tips that I see, but no length to them, which is just terrific. I think I've got the right type of stroke and angle coming up that addresses my problem area right here. It took a while to figure that out. How much lather do I have left after 3 passes? I think I dialed it in really nicely. I think it's a good one this time. And that's about as much as I want to have left over. A little bit extra for a touch-up pass or something like that. So I'm happy with that in terms of the economy of the soap and how much I get used. So it looks like a 30-second load is just right for me, at least for this base and for this brush. If you've got a brush that varies greatly in terms of attributes, if it's a lot more scratchy and scritchy, this one's very soft and kind of lighter on the backbone aspect, then it's going to be very different than a scratchy high backbone knot. Okay, so that will affect the times, the load time. Big old scratchy brush might need less load time by a good margin. 2 teaspoons of water was all that was needed. I wouldn't go any further. I'm glad I didn't. I think it was right in a good spot. My rinses had a nice creamy, really slick, luxurious feel, like a good performing soap would. Really happy with that. So I'm just going to clean up and maybe think about what I want to use for post shave. That was a good shave. I love this brush. It's nice to put another use on the Nacet. It's still going strong. Just kind of normal amount of blade buffing is what I need to do. And on this side, often I can get away with the longer strokes and comfortable. And second, third pass, or even, I'd consider smooth. Got a good result, no irritation, no redness. So happy with that. Let's figure out post shave. You know what I feel like? Just kind of keeping it simple. I'm about to hit the sack because I'm so wasted. Lather and wood. I got this a bit ago from Amazon. I think it's this reasonable balm. What I really like about it is its sandalwood scent is just spot on. I enjoy that. Good, authentic sandalwood scent. I mean, it's probably not real sandalwood oil. It's probably a synthetic, but I don't care. I just want the scent. Might be, though. Who knows? That's why a lot of people skimp on a sandalwood soap or balm or something like that. Sandalwood is mentioned in the name, but you don't smell it very often. It's because it's an expensive oil. All right, yeah, I like that. That's good finish. So I'm a little disappointed with the strength of the soap. It's unfortunate. But the brush, the razor, the blade, the performance of the soap were all terrific. I have to do some research about, see if the scent strength is if that's pretty normal for this brand. If you use Ariana Evans and have a comment about the scent strength, please feel free to leave it. So that's it for me. Taxes are done. I'll rest easy tonight. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Hope there was something here that helped you out. You take care. Good night.